Hey guys, and welcome. We're going to go through a little presentation about going beyond the mindset model so that we can create better health, wealth, and relationships. And we're going to talk about why mindset doesn't always work. What is the problem and how to solve for it? So I'm going to get started by sharing my screen to keep me on track. Welcome. My name is Kim. I'm going to talk to you about why I created this approach. What is the problem with mindset alone? What does this have to do with the law of attraction, human design, and hypnotherapy? And what is the solution to self-healing? Here's a question for you. Have you used mindset and not gotten the results you want? Have you changed your thoughts? Have you used positive affirmation? Have you done all of the things that you saw in The Secret and in the mindset world, whether it came from the coaching industry or cognitive behavior therapy or wherever it was? Have you tried mindset and it has not worked? In other words, we would know that by, do you have the results right now? What are the results? How long have you tried using mindset? And what went wrong? What's missing? What happened? This is what we're going to talk about. So when mindset falls short, these are the reasons that I have come up with. Number one, there is a disconnection. And it is sometimes a disconnection between the teacher and the student. It's sometimes the disconnection in the language. And what I mean by that is the perception that the person is speaking compared to the perception of the person who is listening. So I often say things to my students or clients, and I can hear that they haven't received the way that I said it. Can you relate to that? You can just post in the chat or raise your hand. So sometimes the disconnection is actually not about the process. It's about the perception that we understand it. So we sometimes speak a different language. So someone says, it's all mindset. Just change your thoughts and you'll change your results. That is true. But there's more to the story. There is something missing. So if you've been trying mindset and it hasn't worked for you, you're going to walk away understanding that today. Are you in for it? This is the missing link. That's what we're going to talk about. Just let me know in the chat if this is something that you want me to continue moving forward. Thoughts do become things. What you think creates what you feel. Therefore, the actions that you take, and that creates your results. Can we all agree on that? Because I do believe the mindset model is legit. This is my disclaimer. I do believe, but there are some missing pieces. So there is this understanding about thoughts become things, and then there is this process for that to begin working in your life. And you haven't been through the middle steps, you will not be able to get the results that you want. One of the reasons why there is a difference between thoughts and beliefs. A thought is just a phrase that your mind spits out and interprets it in a certain way. But when that thought triggers an emotion or an emotional response and creates a sensation in the body, then we know it's a belief, because the thought triggered something deeper inside of you. It's what we call triggers. At some point in time, you took on an experience and you made it your truth. That's just the way things are. That's just the way it is. Because that was your perception, that was your reality. And if there is an emotional signature, which is an imprint of a sensation in your neurology, which is your nervous system, then it is a belief. So mindset work will not produce results if you do not uncover the unconscious belief. I'm going to pause for a moment, take a breath. I really don't want to go too fast because I'm going to give you a lot of information in a short period of time. Does this make sense? You could very well just receive that and be like, oh my God, I got my answer. I'm out of here. I know what it is, right? Does it make sense? Totally makes sense. Yes. Okay, so we're going to agree that you can use the mindset model to become aware of your conscious thoughts, the thoughts that you were thinking. You can identify them. You can tell them to your coach. You see them. You're like, just my thoughts. But if there is an unconscious belief that has become your truth, that is attached to an emotional signature, that will not work. So we're going to talk about the bridge. How do you go between conscious and unconscious? How do you go between knowing and not knowing? How do you go between thinking it and creating it? Now, we all know the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction is thoughts become things. It's that simple. What you believe, what you think, the sensation you put out into the world, the vibration you carry is what your world is going to look like, whether that's changing perception or practicality. Okay. So it's either going to change the way you see something. So in other words, the thing will be the exact same, but you see it differently, or it will physically change it. Are we on board? The law of attraction. You think it, you feel it, you believe it, you have a certain vibration that you're putting out into the world. That vibration is what some people call a positive attitude. I look at the sunny side of things. I reframe it so that I can experience it in a different kind of way. I change my perception and I decide to look at the sunny side of things, and then I feel better. And then whenever I feel better, I create more of what I feel. Everybody agree? The second is I actually think it, feel it, believe it, raise my vibration, and I create it in a tangible way. I physically create it. My body becomes what I think. My finances become what I believe. I create it. Okay, you see the bridge? The flaw of attraction is when you skip the feel, when you skip the imprint, when you skip the sensation that raises the vibration. In other words, it's thought bypassing or mental bypassing. So, in spiritual bypassing, it's when there's a bunch of crap going on and you tell yourself, you're like, oh, it's happening for me. I'm like going to the heavens. You're like spiritually bypassing and creating this illusion of it's happening like in a way that serves, right? It's like this spiritual bypassing is, instead of moving through reality, you kind of like move it into the spiritual realm and land here. And then the middle just gets avoided. Well, mental bypassing is when you have a thought and you just change the thought, but you don't change the unconscious. You don't change the understanding. You don't change the perception. So you literally just memorize new thoughts that don't feel real or true to you. Does this make sense? Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Let me know in the chat. I obviously need interaction, right? I'm a generator by design, and I need something to respond to. So I need to know that you guys are getting it and you want me to move forward so that I can move forward. Because if I don't know that, I literally can't I can't go forward. Okay. So that's why I'm asking for that. It's not to put you on the spot. It's just that I literally need the interaction in order for me to serve you. Got it. Thank you. Okay. So that's the bridge. That's the difference between the law of attraction and the flaw of attraction. Is the F is missing. The feeling is missing, because most of us don't know how to feel on a visceral level. We don't know how to create a new feeling. We only know what we sense or what we think we feel, but we can't like go grab a feeling and make it happen, and in order to create, you have to feel the future. And so that's the flaw of attraction. If you can't feel the future, if you can't create the vision and then actually feel what it would be like to be that new identity, to be that other version of yourself, then you can't create it. So this is the missing bridge. It's like somebody showing us like, hey, you're here and you can get here, but they're not giving us the steps to walk on. So we keep falling through the cracks, keep trying. Got it? When we use the mindset model against ourselves, it's when we're taking the step and we fall And then we blame ourselves. I'm not getting it. There's something wrong with me. And then we look up and we have all this evidence, all this proof that it works for everyone else. They make all the money. They have the amazing relationship. They're getting the car, right? This is called using it against yourself. It's judgment and comparison. And I believe, and the punchline approach states, the only reason that we suffer is because of judgment and, what did you say? It's judgment and comparison. And it's due to competition. They can do it and I can't. They got it and I didn't. This is so painful. It's so hard for me. It's a wound inside of me that says I can't have what I want. I'm not good enough. They can have it. I can't. It's childhood wounds. And so when you're using the mindset model against yourself, it's a catalyst for these core wounds to come up. And because no one is giving you the access of what to do about that, how to heal that, how to move through it, you just keep beating yourself up with that model, right? The model becomes like something you beat yourself up ahead against. I've interviewed over 60 people and I asked them, why haven't they made $50,000 yet? And the answer I got back from most is, it's probably my thoughts. I'm sure it's my thoughts. I'm pretty sure it's or I haven't worked hard enough. I haven't done enough. It's like, it's me. They were totally using this work against themselves. So what you could do instead, use it as a catalyst for these wounds to come up so that self-defeat and unworthiness actually come to the surface, and it creates an opportunity for you to heal it once and for all. So this judgment and comparison, this I can't get it, I can't have it, in the work, it's an actual opportunity to sit with this. I can't have it because I'm not worth it, because it's not available for me, because, like, see what unconsciously comes up. And if you ask the question in that way, it will actually just come to the surface so that you can call it out, so that you can see it. That's the awareness of the unconscious. So if we were talking about the model, thoughts become things, or your thoughts create your feelings create your actions. It's right in between there. So I'm going to take you all the way to the punchline approach, but I want to first dissect into here, and I want to show you what the problem is so that you can identify it, okay? So we use the model against ourselves, our mindset model against ourselves. We fall between the cracks, we look up, we create evidence, because this is what the brain does, right? I'm not good enough. I'm doubting myself. I'm feeling defeated. So what does the brain do? Whatever you tell it, it goes get some evidence for you. So it looks up on the stage over there and it's like, yeah, she did it, and she did it, and she did it, and it's happening for her. And see, I have so much proof. I have so much proof that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, that I can't sit at the table with the high risers, right? Whatever comes up, that's all coming from this inner core wound. This takes me to the wounded healer. Very many practitioners and coaches are wounded healers. And it is because this wound that is inside of their self, myself, yourself, right? This core wound is being projected, reflected back and forth. So we feel it, and then we go try to fix it. And it's our wound to take care of. It's our work to do. And so instead of stopping the competition, instead of judging and comparing, when something comes up, I want to offer you an opportunity to heal it so that it's no longer a wound. It becomes a scar. And when it's a scar, you're no longer triggered and emotionally responding or reacting. Is that a deal? You want to learn more? Want me to keep going? Is everybody on board? Let me know in the chat. Deal. Yes, please. Yes. All right. I will respond. If we are whole, then our perception of the world is whole. If we're wounded, then we see the world and others as wounded, and we try to fix it. That is a wounded healer. We see the world and other people as a mirror, and it projects and reflects, and then we go into the Me Too movement, right? Me too, me too, me too, me too. I get you, girl. I get you. Right? But all of that is not helping you get the results you want. It's actually playing out the story and creating a deeper neural pathway. See if you can understand that. See if some ideas or examples come to mind. So it's using the failure of mindset as evidence that I am a failure. I knew I couldn't do it. I should have known. I shouldn't have tried so hard. I can't believe I believed in myself for that one moment and spent all that money, right? That's the story that comes up. That's the dialogue, the narrative within yourself. And it's coming from earlier wounding at some point in time that we take on these beliefs. This is where hypnotherapy comes into play. Because hypnotherapy says if you can see it and identify it and understand it, you can shift it. And if you can shift it, release it, unpack it, then you can drop a new belief. You can plant a new seed or a new idea and grow that. Everybody on board? How do you feel about me showing you how to do this? To give you a framework. Because what we understand, we can change. Imagine this. Imagine this is you, your whole being. Mentally, you have a mind. Spiritually, you have a soul. Emotionally, you can feel and experience life. And physically, it shows up in form, material form. That is wholeness, when all aspects are together. I mentally know, I think it, I feel it, my soul is excited about it, and I'm experiencing it in the material world. Now, we're going to take the pie apart because that's how most of us are functioning today. I work with a lot of health and wellness practitioners and massage therapists, people who are working with the physical body. And what society has done is taken this pie and it's cut it in pieces. It's chopped it up. And if you have physical stuff, you need to go to the doctor. You need to go to the hospital. You need to go to the personal trainer, right? The medical community becomes the authority of your physical body. Come back in 6 months and I'll see what else is wrong with you. Okay, go and fix this and come back and then I'm going to give you something else. That's like the suggestibility that's happened with all of us, right? We need this authority outside of ourselves. Instead of using it for healthcare, like I have a problem I need to go fix, it's supposed to be like fix the issue of the physical body. But what has been done is like turned into this, like you gotta keep coming back, because if you don't come back in 3 years, we're actually going to take you off and you're going to have to be a new patient again. Because you should be needing me within 3 years, right? It's that kind of thing. And that's a business model, which is not a problem. It's a business model. Okay. Can we all agree? So that's what's happening with the physical body. The medical community has become the authority. Now the mental body, which is the mind, right? What's happening up here, neuroscience, psychology, the psychiatrist, the mental world is the authority of the mental body. So if you're depressed, you got to go there. If you have this, you got to go there, right? That's the plan. That's the business model. Is if you need mental help, then you need to get it through these, access it through these forms. And then the spiritual, you should go to the priest. You should go to the pastor, you should go to the gurus, you should go to the Himalayans, you should go to the Buddhists, you should go to the authority of the spiritual body in order for you to attain spirituality. Can we all agree? Are we all still on the same page? And then, boom, tell me this. Who has taught you about the emotional body? Exactly. Crickets. No one. That's why I'm here. We're going to talk about the emotional body and the importance of the emotional body and how a balanced emotional body, a healthy emotional body, actually completes the whole pie. Are you in? Does this make sense? Is everyone on board? And would you like me to keep going? Yep. Okay. Now we know better. When we have mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual balance, we can improve health, wealth, and relationships. It is integration. This is the missing piece. One of the missing pieces. I'm going to discuss a couple of them. When we are integrated, it's back to the pie, right? But it's all whole with no seams. This is healing. Healing is returning to wholeness. Have any of you ever like had an amazing yoga practice and you're just like, oh, I'm all connected. Oh, it feels so easy. I feel so relieved. Anything is possible. That's wholeness. Because when you feel whole, you will feel joy. It's more like floating, right? Rather than pushing and white knuckling and mind setting. So when we have physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally integrated, it will show up in our finances, in our personal growth, in our social relationships, whether it's partnerships, business partner, whatever it is, the people that we hang out with, and in our occupation, which is how do we contribute and serve the world? Your occupation might not be a money-making thing. It might be a way to serve the world and serve humanity so that you and that person feels satisfied, feels whole, because you're contributing in a creative way that's coming from who you are. So it doesn't have to be monetary. And this is the problem with healing focused entrepreneurs not making money, is because they are not driven by money and they keep signing up for make money courses. Guys, if you're signing up for that, you're not there for healing. You're there to make money. And so that's often the lack of language understanding. You did not sign up to become whole and to become confident. You signed up to learn how to make money. See how it's starting to make sense? They're not wrong. You're not wrong. The bridge is not there because we don't want to be in a blame position. That's lame, right? Okay. So this is what's missing. It's the punchline approach. That's it right there. And I know this because I lived this. I had the same struggle. That's why I know it so well. And I couldn't figure it out. And I was listening to Louise Hay and all the Hay House speakers and Brooke Castillo and all of the mindset gurus, all of the people who were telling me to change my thoughts. And I was seeing their life had changed, but no one understood that I had this wound. It was not their job to identify the wound, but completely dismissing it and not validating it made me go into a trauma response. Get where I'm going? And can anybody see what I'm saying? So the punchline approach is the approach to create conscious change. It's the missing pieces. I'm going to take you step by step. First, it's presence. How do you get in your body? Yoga, meditation, tapping, walking, breathing, sex, exercise. How do you get in your physical body? Tapping is a great thing. Presence. I'm aware that I'm a soul in a meat suit. That is presence. The only difference between me and Abraham Hicks, I got the body. Consciousness comes through me, all the same, but I have the body to express it. Abraham had to use someone else's body, right? That team had to go knocking on Esther's door. Can I come in? Can I speak through you? But we get to do it through this body. That's the only difference. So you got to get present if you want to be able to express and materialize in this world, in this physical world. Okay, so that's the first step. You got to get present. The second step is you have to unveil to understand the unconscious. Now look how brilliant Source is. Can you see how all of these letters match up? Like, I didn't make that up, guys. It just keeps coming and it just keeps growing. I underlined the things that are missing. Okay. So you can have your thoughts, you can have your feelings, you can have your actions, and you can have your results. But what happens when it doesn't work? You haven't understood the unconscious. So you can't stop it. You can't change what you can't see. You got to see it to lift it, to shift it. We're all on the same page. Everybody's getting this. Does anyone have an aha? Like, are you getting it? Like on a level of, whoa, this is it. I got it. I got the missing piece. So you can use different processes here. You can actually use the mindset model. You can use hypnotherapy. You can use journaling. You want to be able to download. You want to be able to see what's coming out of you. But the problem is you are so indoctrinated And your belief about you doing it wrong and not getting it is so strong that your mind won't let go of what it knows in order to know something else. That's the biggest problem I see with my clients, is they are so attached to this certain way that it's supposed to work because that industry has showed them evidence and evidence and evidence and evidence and evidence. We've got awards, we've got $1 million awards, we've got $100,000 awards every week in your email. I'm going to tell you one more person who did it and did it and did it and did it, right? And so your brain is just like bombarded by all the evidence. And then you've got this wound that's like, well, if they can all do it, why can't I do it? I know it's the thing. I know it's the thing. I can't let go of it. So you're basically gambling. It is like a direct sales company when you look at it this way. It's like you keep paying your monthly thing because you just know one day somebody's going to show up underneath your leg and you're going to make all that money, right? Like you just keep holding on and you just keep paying and waiting, but you won't let go so that you can know something else. And so that indoctrinated bias is actually what's preventing you from knowing something else and getting the next step. Does anybody feel this? Does anybody understand this? It's like believing like the generational patterning, or it's believing the religious dogma, or it's believing societal's conditioning. It's believing the thing that somebody said so many times that it has become your truth, but it's actually not your truth. It's their truth that you adopted. See if you can feel that, all of it. Feels like my truth. I know I talked to so many of you and I could sense it. That's why I created this. Okay. Once you understand it, then you can navigate the habit and behavior. So what that looks like, it's an interrupting the pattern. So I'm used to thinking and believing this. I no longer do. How do I break that? How do I interrupt that neural pathway? Because the bridge between the you and the in is the neural pathway. Okay. You think it and you feel it in your body. You think it and you feel it in your body. Now listen, there comes a point where you don't even have to think it anymore. It's just lodged in your body. And then you believe it's your truth. So that bridge between the you and the in, the unpack to understand so that I can navigate, so that I can pivot, so that I can change the pathway. It's hard. It takes a long time to really get the concept. But once you get it, you will be doing this naturally. And then you will realize it's how you've changed everything. Anything you've ever done in your life that you've changed is this process. I just found a simple way to teach it. And I put it in a framework and I created the product and then I started teaching it. And it's so amazing that other people started teaching it too. And now it has a life of its own. So you're going to unveil to understand the unconscious so that you can navigate new habits to change the neural pathways. It looks like that's not me. This is what I do now. Think about the in now. I do it differently in the now. This is new. That's how I used to behave. This is how I behave now. I'm going to pause here and make sure you don't have any questions before I move forward, because if you don't get the PU in, you're not going to get the rest. You have to get the PU in before you create the new thought, before you create the new vision, before you imprint it in your body. So let me pause for a moment. Okay. So you have to get present so that you know what's really going on. You want to separate fact from fiction. You want to identify the unconscious beliefs, and then you want to navigate the habit and behavior. So this is what I used to do. This is what I'm going to do now. The habit I usually use here is like, it's 8:30 at night. You want Oreos. You're not supposed to be eating Oreos at 8:30 at night because you said you weren't going to do that anymore. You can hear your thoughts and it's like, you're not present. That's the first thing. And it's like, there's this little thought, we really should get Oreos. Let's go get Oreos. And you get up and you start moving and you're like, I said I wasn't going to do it. I'm just going to eat one. I'm just going to eat one. I'm just going to eat one. I'm going to open the pack and then before you know it, you ate the sleeve. Okay. And so if you just try to change, like beat yourself up and say, I don't do that without actually understanding why you do it, then you're not going to be able to change it. So instead you get to the bag, you open it up and you're like, I need an Oreo because I am eating this because like, I'm understanding why I'm doing it. And then you can make the decision to go ahead and eat it consciously on purpose, or I'm not the person who does that. And that would be interrupting the pattern. So the old way, you get up, you open it, you eat the whole sleeve or the whole bag, unconscious, then you beat yourself up. The new way, you see, you hear, You question and you interrupt. And instead of doing the thing that your brain wants to do for the dopamine hit, you actually pause and sensation will come up. You'll feel resistance. Right? You're like, oh, that's only going to last 90 seconds. You're like, you want it because this is legit. When you take it, but then you unconsciously eat the rest while you're unconsciously beating yourself up, saying you're never going to do it again. Let me finish with the bag so it's not here anymore. I'm not going to do this tomorrow. I don't know why I keep doing it myself. That's all unconscious. You can hear it because I'm sure you can hear what I'm saying right now, but you actually don't have the tool to stop it. So you get to the counter, you open it up, you pick it, and you're like, why do I want this? I want this because it would be really good right now. I'm starving. I need more sugar, right? Whatever it is. And you stop. I use the SOS. Like, this is one of the tools I created. It's stop, open, and stay. And so you stop and you're like exploring it. Like, okay, what is this little black cookie going to do for me? Do I really want it? What would happen if I didn't have it? Isn't that interesting? I feel vibration going through my body. Then it will pass. You put the cookie up, you close the bag, put it in the counter, and guess what? You just changed the neural pathway. You just interrupted the pattern. You just changed the habit. It happens in the now. The transformation happens in the now. It happens in the experience it. Like, so that this is like the other part, right? It's like, well, just don't do that. Well, let's understand why you don't do that, so yet you now have the tools to not do that again. Is this making sense? Yes. Okay. So you navigate. So you're now walking out of the kitchen without the cookie. You're feeling really good, right? You've just changed things. And now your nervous system has neutralized. You have tapped into the parasympathetic nervous system. You were in fight, flight, freeze, right? All that was going on. You were not tapped into the parasympathetic nervous system until you processed the sensation. It would be the same thing if it was a bottle of wine, or it was about to blow up at your husband, or throw something across. This would be the same exact thing as the Oreos. You pause, present. You just drop back into the body. You stop the resistance by asking questions. Pause. Now you're neutral. Guess what? Now you have access to the frontal cortex, because you've just neutralized the nervous system. Now you have a rational mind. Now you can walk out of the kitchen. Now you're proud of yourself. You know you can do anything. That's the time to create the vision of your future self. Got it? So now you have frontal cortex access. You're feeling into the future self. And how does it feel to count on yourself, to have committed, follow through on your commitment, to do what you said you would do, to be empowered? What does that feel like in your body? Do you feel relieved? Do you feel hopeful? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel confident? Tell me what you feel. I feel amazing. That would feel amazing. What else? If you knew that one day it wouldn't even be a temptation, because you've done this so many times that it's no longer a trigger, because you've resolved the trigger, because you've resolved the wound. And then you envision what it is that you want. If I don't eat Oreos every night at 8:30, this is what my body's going to look like. This is what my clothes is going to feel like. This is what it's going to feel like when I go hiking, when I put on my seatbelt, when I get dressed every day, when I go shopping. This is what it's going to feel like. Plant that vision. Think you can have it. Feel true. And then you want to integrate that peace and contentment in your nervous system. This feels like a visceral imprint. So you believe it, believe it, believe it. And you stay long enough so everybody drop into their body. What is it that you want to feel? I want to feel certain. I want to feel confident. I want to feel powerful. What does it feel like? Let it drop all the way down your legs, all the way into your toes. Down. Feel it in your belly. Allow it to tingle, move, pass, drop all the way down into your body. Keep the breath going. I am she who does. And just paint the picture of what it looks like. Make your $50,000. lose your 50 pounds, not have chronic pain in your body, whatever it is. Imagine it. If you can imagine it, you can have it. This is the law of attraction. Imagine the people around you. Imagine you looking at yourself in the mirror, looking at your bank account. Imagine you relating to other people as this person, the future self. Notice how it begins to pop up. Bring it back down, drop it down, 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 down. Imagine there are some holes at the center of your feet, and there's roots growing from your feet down into the earth, grounded in the earth, using the nectar of the universe to draw up into the body, down into the body, being really grounded in this new belief, in this new sensation, in this new feeling. Feel the relief, feel the ease. Now start to feel the tingling as it comes on board, the possibility, the potential. Big breath, find some movement, maybe rub your hands together, shake your hands out, release any disbelief. Move your body, move your physical body. Whew. Did everybody feel that? If you did not feel it, you are not wrong. You are not bad. There's nothing wrong with you. You just don't have access to your emotional body. It's been disconnected and it needs to be turned back on. That is what we do in Self-Healing Masters. We reconnect the disconnection. That is what I do with one-on-one coaching. That is what we do in any of the work that I do. So if you are not feeling that, if you did not sense what that felt like in your body, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just disconnected from the emotional body. I had a lot of anxiety initially. That's correct, because that's resistance. That's resistance that came up. And because you stayed long enough, because someone held the space for you, we can't hold it for ourselves. Someone held the space for you and you were able to bring it in, even though you got a taste of it. If anybody didn't get a taste of it, just reach out. All right. I'm going to move on for the sake of this training and timing. So now that you've created the vision and you've embodied it, this is embodiment. Okay. So the front part is integration. The bottom part is embodiment. Now you are prepared to take action. So now you can bring the mindset model back in. Make sense? So I didn't throw it away. We just expanded it. So how to take massive action. Here's the action line, right? Thoughts, feelings, actions. We just went way deeper on the feeling part. So how to take massive action and embody the results. You've embodied the sensation right here, right? The vision. But how do you embody the actual results? Choose the vision. Commit to it. Commit to yourself. Commit to the work. It's non-negotiable. And then cultivate as if it already were. And I'm going to tell you something. If you just felt this in your body, it happened in the quantum field. So it's on its way. It's just that we have to wait for linear time to catch up. It's kind of like we talked about, like I had COVID. It's been 12 or 14 weeks. Now I'm getting the symptoms of hair loss. Okay. The incident happened 12 weeks ago, 14 weeks ago, but the physical results in the material world are showing up today. Same thing with this. This is how it works. This is how the universe and life are orchestrated. Okay. So you choose, commit, cultivate as if it already were, and all of your decisions come from the person who already chose it. Then you continue, which means when it comes up again, you go back to presence, unravel, navigate, implant that vision again, embody it, and choose, commit, cultivate again, over and over and over and over. That's where it's like hypnotherapy, the law of attraction, and also human design, because you're going to reach the potential of what you could be. If you do this, your results will be this. Living your life's legacy as an integrated being on all levels, in your natural essence, in ease, flow, personal freedom, which is expressing your individuality, contributing in a way that only you can. That's how you can become successful in business. That's how you can become successful in your relationships, in life itself. You create a better relationship with yourself. You believe, you embody the belief, you become it through the process. Now, for some of you, this may be a lot. It might be too much to swallow today. You can go back and revisit it. You can pause and you can reenact the part that we did together until you have access, or get some coaching, guys. Get yourself some help. Just quit getting the same help that's just beating you up. Quit beating yourself up. So here's where you can join us in Self-Healing Masters. This is the work that we do. It's for health and wellness practitioners to do their own healing work so that they can help someone else without being the wounded healer. Because if you're the wounded healer in the working world, you're going to be very frustrated because you want them to get results, but it's actually that you don't have results. And so your frustration is going to be projected and reflected. And then you're going to feel an urgency and want them to get it. And it's because you're feeling the trigger in your body because you haven't worked through your own triggers. Does that make sense? Now I'm open for questions, observations, and discussions.